Okay, so let's start at 1080.
All right, folks.
So I'll go back here.
So
1080 for the array size first.
Thank you.
Okay, so now you look at these numbers here, and once these numbers get below 129, so right here where it says 160, or 116, excuse me, then your generator kicks on. Okay, kicks on, charges it up, charges it up to
What I want
about
is what we're doing today. So today I am
80%.
giving you this time.
All right, what is 80% of
But I
430?
have some special requests from somebody in the off-grid to continue through the process of designing off-grid.
344. I'm going to put that over here so I don't forget.
I'm gonna
344.
go through that and talk through that.
Okay,
But if you're
so
doing high, you're free to work on this stuff.
316. So we need to charge this up from 316 to 344. So 344 minus 316.
Yeah, we got
344 minus
next week.
116.
Yeah, we'll do it next week as well.
You're going to add 228 amp hours to your bank from your generator. Okay? And then it charges up a little bit, and then, oh, look, it's below what we want again.
Just a reminder.
So if I delete this, right there, and that one. All right, then we go here, and we go, oh, okay, 99. So 344 minus 99.
What was I saying? No, Dr. Cool. I know.
All right, then we go here, oh, 65. 344 minus 65.
Spec sheets as attachments to your project. So whatever.
Here, I'll go to the next one. So every time this blue number, these blue numbers dip below
I also
229.
Due date for your classwork to the following
129.
Friday, so a week from Friday.
So right here at 82, we go over here,
Yes.
and we are charging from a capacity. So this is how many amp hours are left in our battery bank. 82 amp hours.
So it's gonna be
If we don't turn the generator
a lot of
on.
pages.
So we're going to turn the generator on,
You'll get them back.
and we're going to charge it from 82 amp hours up to 344.
Front and back is fine.
So
Is the submission date for the final project?
whatever that is, 344. So we're basically injecting,
Yeah, Wednesday.
let's see,
If you would like it to be Wednesday at midnight.
we're injecting 262 amp hours.
Your address?
We'll have it under her door.
Got to do it again down here.
By the time I get to work.
344 minus 68.
Not that early.
Okay, right here,
But online.
right here is where we've charged on that generator 5 times in a month.
I don't.
And what did it say? It said the customer doesn't want the generator to kick on more than 5 times.
Turn in online.
We just booked.
And it's definitely going to, because notice you have 1 amp hour left in your battery bank if you don't turn this generator on one more time.
I'll have to pay for it.
Okay,
The travel, we booked a room.
Thank
here.
you. That's so nice. So,
okay.
I think that's all I was gonna say.
I can explain it.
So, right. And then next week we have, our study group
Check your
on
values up
Tuesday. Oh yeah, last thing, watch the financial video.
Yeah, so let me get into this one more time here. 125. So
So, grid type people,
344
you can work
minus.
somewhat quietly,
125.
so I don't have to yell.
All right. So I turned it on 6
Alright,
times.
so for you off-grid people, so I left off with page.
So this isn't what the
So
customer
we're
wants. They
basically
said,
taking
"Here's
all
the
of that
five."
information.
So guess what? You're gonna have to add 3 more panels.
Consolidation and.
That's gonna be a lot of money for that
offset
extra
schedule.
generator kicking
I said
on one
paste
time. So
the,
if it was me
the stuff from
making
the
recommendations to the
consolidation
customer, this is what you would say.
spreadsheet
You'd say, you know, I got that. But if you're willing to listen to the generator one more time at the worst case,
So then
I
we
can
have
save you
to fill out the off-grid.
X amount, you know, however much. have less in
Fill
panels,
out
right? But since we're just working on a homework problem, we don't care about that, so let's make it
system.
actually work. So what we have to
Spreadsheet.
do now is we're gonna have to
So
double this,
what
right?
we need,
Because now
we
we
need
can't add, like more panel. We have to add 3 more panels
make sure I know where I'm at here. Okay,
so that the
for that,
parallel
we're going to
runs.
need our battery
will
bank
match.
size.
Okay, so now we're looking at what? 2,160
Energy audit.
watts? Do that math right in my head?
Energy audit.
Okay, 2,160.
Okay, and then
2,160.
unshaded percent unshaded.
All right, now
So that's going to be from
we got to delete everything we did here and start this whole
solar
process
Pathfinder
again. Okay. So now, when it drops below 129, so we are right here.
Abraham, did you have a question? You raised your hand.
Same thing.
You're good.
344.
You saw good. I
minus
saw it a long time ago and forgot.
6.
Okay. All right, and then you're also going to need your watt hours per day. And then from these items, oh, you'll need your bank voltage. Should be
Okay, 3 times.
48 volts.
3 times a month it'll turn on now instead of
Alright,
6.
And then
Okay,
Run that.
so I'm sensing that there's confusion,
Going
and that's
to-
fine because I can talk about it
all
more.
of this.
So
We need
basically,
to,
what we were doing
find system
is if this is your battery bank,
wattage.
okay,
Okay.
and our battery
So
bank
how
had a
we do
capacity,
that
so if this is
is
filled with
then, of
water,
course,
okay, which is,
this guy,
and by water I mean capacity,
filling in all
your
the
storage
top-
capacity. It's just
see if I can
easier
write
for me
on
to
this.
think about it
Filling
in
in
like
all of the
water
top-
terms for whatever reason. So if this is filled all the way,
That's
that means that
unfortunate.
we're at max capacity, and that is at
Nope. All right.
what are
Well then.
430 amp hours.
All right. So
Okay,
you do not need to
430 amp hours. Okay, but that means we're going to have some usage. Okay, so our battery banks are going to discharge.
You do need to change.
All right, and
the charge
basically
efficiency
what
stays
it's
the
saying
same, then the
is
lock cell as well.
day over day,
Your bank size you get from your energy
Oops.
audit, your voltage.
Day
is
over
the
day,
voltage of your battery bank.
here,
These watt hours is from your
here,
energy audit
you're
spreadsheet,
consistently
and then
draining your
remaining
battery
size is
bank,
what you're going to
okay?
change. You
So
change
once
this,
your
you want to change it in
capacity
increments of the solar
reaches-
panel that you've chosen. So if you have chosen a
so we have
270 watt
129. So down here,
to plug in numbers
Down
that are
here
multiple
is
of
129
270 watts.
amp hours. Okay. Once there's this much left,
Call.
the generator kicks
Yeah,
on
well,
and says,
Right,
no, no,
so if you have
no,
17 and
time to
you're
charge
using
it
a
up.
inverter, then that's weird,
Charge,
right?
cha-
So
time to
it's
fill it
gonna
up.
have multiple
Okay,
few or so
now,
as well.
let me- I lost my train of thought here. Okay, so here's the thing. Why do we charge it to 80%? That's like right there.
Your,
Well, the time that it takes to
Based
charge this
on
last
what your
20%
customer wants. So
is basically, it takes a long time for the last
wanna
20%. So really it just has to do with efficiency. It doesn't make
Generator
sense to charge it any more than that just because
3
it takes so
times
long for the last little bit because of the way that the charge controller charges the battery, or I should say
and
the inverter charger charges
you
the
only
battery.
want to charge.
So we only charge it up to,
you only
this
want to
80%
charge up
line.
to 80%
So
of your battery bank size.
that means
so for example,
that that
if I
80%,
have 430 amp hours,
that was this
80% of
344 I
430
was
is
using.
that 344
Okay,
right there.
so
Okay.
344
So if I go here,
amp hours.
let's see if I can
So-
get space. I don't
So you
have my
looked at the
keyboard
blue
attached.
numbers and they would incrementally kind of go down.
Oh, no.
And then let's say you got to
Okay.
like
So
down here
we're
to
gonna look at
your
116
blue
amp hours.
numbers, that's how much
Now the charger
capacity your
has to
battery
go
bank has
charge from
each day
116
until
to
it gets below
344.
129.
Whoa, what would that be? That basically just means that it's injecting a certain number of amp hours into your battery bank. So 344 amp hours
battery bank.
minus
So
SNH amp
now,
hours minus
let's see it. So
116
129
amp hours.
So
What
right
is that?
there is where
Anybody?
we need to.
Anybody?
Oh,
344 minus 116.
126. I didn't even see that. 126. So what you can do is you're going
228.
to do
228
344.
amp hours.
So 80%.
Okay,
minus
so this number here
that
is what we would add to
126,
if these are our
That's
columns.
the number of amp
Okay,
hours
and these are your
you
blue
plug
numbers.
in At that point. And you'll do that
Okay,
continuously,
over
so
here,
it'll be the next
You had a
time it
bunch of
goes
blank
below
spaces,
129,
and then you hit that
then you're going to
116,
put
and then you
244
say, oh,
minus
time to
whatever
put in
value is
228 amp hours.
Good in blue.
Okay, so that's what we were continuously doing.
And if you have to charge, so every time you put a number in, that's the generator turning on.
No, that's okay.
So
I'm
if
actually
it
going
is
to get
turning
stuff
on
in
more than
place.
3 times,
Why we went from
then you will need to
array size, why
increase
we
your
doubled
array
the
size.
Because adding on.
of the
Instead of adding one,
Not one panel, but like just
Okay,
one.
good.
So you will need to do
But we
this
could do.
2 times.
We could, I can do
Actually, 3 times,
four.
but definitely 2 times. For ground mount.
Oh, never mind, that's why.
yeah, we started with one string. Okay,
because
cool.
I
Good
also
question though.
asked for,
Why can't we
a
Two,
non-solar art, non-solar
Because it's slightly below the charge controller threshold,
generator. So what you can do
the
with that
minimum.
is
So the maximum
that
voltage
other
is too
option,
low
all you can,
for the
all you
charge
have to do,
controller. Yeah,
put your array
Is
size
the
to
reason why it's
0.
always 344 minus whatever
Okay.
numbers there, so
And
that
then
it gets
you
up
can
to
look at
344?
how many amp hours you're injecting each time.
exactly.
Okay.
It's like you've got a certain,
above,
if I think about it as
whatever
gallons,
30% is of your
you
battery
got 5
bank.
gallons at the bottom, but you
Then-
need it to be 10,
You can add up
5, you're putting in
hours
5
a
gallons
month
to get to
your
10.
generator's gonna
Kind of
run.
like that.
You can calculate
Okay,
based on
so,
your generator,
anyway,
fuel
cool. So
efficiency,
basically,
how much
if we go
fuel
back to the
you'll
original
use
question,
for a
because
year.
who knows what
You
the
don't
original
have
question
solar.
actually was.
And I can tell you, it's gonna be real expensive.
I do,
So,
but
that's how you do it in
But people,
non-solar
I imagine,
alternative.
probably don't, because that was a long roundabout way to solve.
You
Well, it's
will
really
have
the only
to
way to
find
solve it,
out.
but
That's the
takes a long
question.
time. Okay, so the
Okay.
question was,
So-
what is the appropriate array size and orientation to limit
after you've
generator
done that,
usage
so
to
after
about
you have
5
figured
times per
out
month for the worst
The array
winter month
size
now?
in watts.
Now that I read
And
that,
your roof
and we went through this
and your ground
process,
mount,
you
so
know that we
different
actually
number-
answered all of that,
different numbers
right?
as far as your
Array size would be
for each
what?
situation.
Right.
That'll tell you.
The
Once
orientation?
you divide it by the number of watts
We
per
said
panel,
what?
how many panels you need.
South, 36.
So-
Yep.
The number of
And
panels.
we're limiting the generator usage
Make sure I keep writing this
to,
down.
well, doing 3. And remember, we
So-
talked about there was 6, the possibility of
total
6.
system,
And that probably would have been,
Total
that would probably be the
system.
best financial decision,
Watts
but that's not what the question's asking, so.
by
Worst winter month
number
was
watt
January, right?
per panel.
So we answered this question, so that's done. Okay, so the answer is that,
find
what, 22,160
panels needed.
watts. Okay,
Okay.
21,
So I guess that's number
2,160 watts.
Okay.
Okay,
This one,
and we have the number of panels. So,
Okay.
like what Dylan was
6
saying,
panels.
if it's a weird
LG
number
360, 6 panels.
that
So, next question, about how many hours would the generator need to
11
run
is
during the
divisible by
month?
11, and that's it. So,
Okay,
you may have to
gonna
round
get that
down or
information
round
from
up
here.
to have a number
Now,
of panels
how would you
divisible
do
by
that?
like 3.
we have the
or 2
information,
Or
let's
4.
figure out how we would do that.
Next thing you need to do is you need to choose the charge controller that you want. So,
How much it needs.
you can just use the classic
good.
Midnight
Why don't you
solar inverter, or not inverter, excuse me, charge controller.
spec?
So if I go to
operating inverter spec.
Moodle here. Actually, no, I'm just gonna go to solar.
Really. So if you go down
So
to
if I
where it
go
says
to
charger specifications and your inverter spec,
Charge controller
there
classic.
should be
All right. Let's take a look at
something
150.
that for the PAE.
That's what we used in the assignments. Documents.
Yeah.
Let's go
So let
to
me pull
our
it up
spec.
too.
So specs, classic specifications. Okay, so this looks familiar. This is what we looked at before. So what you have to do is you have to go to your solar panel. Go to your solar panel spec, whichever one you chose, and you need to do
That guy.
a temperature correction.
All right, so this is the spec I should be
Or
looking
low
at.
temp.
We're using this version, the 4448 PAE.
Voltage,
We go down here to the charger specifications.
meaning
STC. Here
VOC.
you have
So how do
the
you figure out what
continuous
the lowest
DC
temperature
output.
is, lowest cell temperature?
So this
You
right
use
here is the
PV
current
watts hourly data that you
going
downloaded
into the battery.
and find the minimum
in
cell
amps.
temperature from that hourly data.
And what do we have here? These guys are, amp hours. So what will we do to get hours? We're going to add these together. So let's sum them up. So
So,
because it's asking
okay.
for,
So now
it's asking for
you have the lowest cell temp.
Per
you
month,
do the temperature
how long is your
correction
generator
for
running.
One
So
cell.
add
or sorry,
those.
one panel.
Okay,
then
751 amp hours is what
You're
is
going to
being
figure out how
put
many of
into
those
your
panels
bank.
based on that highest
And if we
voltage you
divide
have
that,
panel
So if
Can
we
go in
divide
series
this
based
amp
on your
hours
spec of your
by
charge
that 60
controller. So
volt,
your
60
your
amps
input
DC
voltage is
gives you hours, 12 and a half hours
Did
your
I
generator's going to be
bring
running
what I need?
per month. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not
it's
following
it's the 4448.
Yes.
So this
All right.
model right there.
So,
I will
here you go.
do a
Classic
I will
150.
enlarge this.
Classic 150.
So this one.
For a 48 volt battery.
Like, why are we?
Okay.
Why are we using this instead of the charge controller? Good
but what we need to
question.
look
This
at
is good.
Right here.
Good question.
150,
So
classic 150, 150 volts. Normally,
let's look at the way that this is laid out again.
As a cushion.
Um,
Okay, so you want
let's go to
for this one. It's your
Find
150 plus
my-
48 volt bank. So 198 volts is your top
just better
voltage. You
look
do
at
not
the
want
picture
your
instead of me
voltage from
drawing
your
it.
panels to go above 198 for this model. Okay, so that means that,
Here.
let's say, three times your VOC. Actually, I think 4 times your VOC for the LG gets you to about 197 or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But that would fall within that. That's the highest voltage. Now, what about your operating voltage? So then you want to check. Then you want to check your. So 10. Check NOCT VMPP.
Okay.
And
That's
you
what I
want
wanted.
to
This guy. Okay.
multiply
So the question was, why are we using
by
the
number
inverter spec to
panels
figure out how long it's going to take
in
to charge the
series
battery?
to check
Right. Okay. So to repeat it so I remember what we're talking about. So here's your battery bank. Here's your generator.
operating voltage. So
This
you
is your
want the
inverter.
operating voltage
This is your
to
charge
fall
controller. So
within
power coming from, holy
fall
smokes, is
under.
everyone okay over there? Power coming from your panels
It's about 100.
goes to your charge controller. Charge controller
198.
charges these.
That's where you're
Okay.
not going to be operating
Now-
very efficiently.
But now we're
But
not
you
talking
can
about
operate in
that. We are
that
talking
range
about the
for
generator
small
turning on
amounts
and
of time
creating
it won't damage
AC
the equipment. But you
power.
want to be under 150.
The current flows through the inverter because you have to go
Okay.
from AC
And
to
then
DC to
you're gonna
charge charge your
check the
battery.
low voltage.
So, when you're going from
Okay,
AC
so remember-
to DC, that
remember
is
what
your
we
charger
went over in
within
class
the inverter,
where-
which is different than your
Check
charge controller.
operating
Okay,
voltage.
so charger within the inverter,
Okay,
that's what we
so
were
we need
reading
to
off the spec.
Check low voltage.
That's what we were reading off the spec. And that is
So I
outputting
said
into
about
the
64
battery bank,
volts
60 amps DC.
at battery equalization.
If we're trying to find out how long
Okay.
this has to run,
64 volts at battery equalization, which means
Amps.
that you want your lowest
Okay.
voltage to be above
you have amp hours
64 volts.
that needs to
Basically,
inject
like
into
having
this.
Too much.
We would
water
therefore
pressure in
divide the
battery
amps
and you
flowing through
get
here
backflow.
by the
You want
capacity
your
that we're
voltage to
putting
be
into
above the
this.
battery voltage.
And that gives
at
us the number of
highest
hours the generator will run.
Battery voltage possible, and that's during battery equalization. So you're going to want it to be above about 64 volts. And so what you'll do is you'll go
Yeah.
to your
On this side over
NO,
here, so think of it this way. From this point over here, this is AC.
at
From this
high
point
temp,
over here, this is DC.
high cell temp.
Okay. So that is what's going on. Okay. And it is a bit confusing. What I suggest
Exercise
is
that we
that
already
if
did.
you're doing any kind of design
classwork
work,
or homeworks.
look at this picture as you're doing it.
And then
Honestly,
you'll
'cause
know
that's what I would do, just to make sure, well, I don't have to do it anymore, but that's what I had to do. Because it is a little bit
then,
confusing of what
after you have your
is
charge
going where.
controller, let's say
Right.
your
So,
high threshold
Okay,
Is too big for the 198, for the 150. You can use the
Now-
200. You can size up, that's fine.
let's go back to where we
You
were.
just want all your components to work together.
Okay,
Now, the 200
so
might be a little more expensive.
how many hours? We said about 12 and a half hours the generator would need to run during the
Then you'll
month.
know how many
based on
in
what we just
series
designed.
and in parallel.
Now,
Now,
it's
after
asking
that,
what generator
have
size would be
your charge
appropriate.
controller. Let's see, I
Now,
wonder
this
if I
is
can
where we
pull
have
up a
to figure
picture
out
of-
what capacity the
download
generator has to
your-
be. Dang it. Why am I still in here?
Moodle.
Yes.
Let's go to your actual project here.
I can't see on your screen.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Now, next one says, what generator would be appropriate? We don't know that. We don't know anything generator right now. So what we do is generator needs to be able to charge like this, charge the battery bank, and power your house at the same time. Okay, so it has to have a large
Okay.
capacity to do that. So we have to look up here. So next one is power draw is
I want to make sure I'm catching
4,000
everything.
watts.
So,
Watts.
all right.
So
let's
we'll
check out
need
what we've
to
done.
make sure
So we have figured out
that
how big, which panels,
we provide
and in
that, and then
what order we have these solar
let's
panels.
see here.
Check.
We also need to go
figured
back to
out
the
The
inverter
charge
spec.
controller. Check. We figured
So
out the battery
let's-
bank. Check.
Where's my
We don't have the
inverter?
inverter, we don't have the combiner box, and we don't have the generator. So,
Okay.
next thing, let's look at
And
the inverter.
We
So,
need
we also
to
Choose an inverter.
look at
12. Inverter. So let's say you have an inverter, you need to make sure that it's an off-grid
that's going to the
inverter,
house,
which means it includes
okay.
a charger in the inverter.
then we
And what
also
we want
need
to
to
look
be
at
able to
is we
power
want to, let me pull up an
the-
inverter spec.
bank. So if we're looking at watts, I
What?
have to
What I
remember.
want?
I've drawn a blank. Uh-oh, you guys. Finally I've hit a
Find
wall.
the inverter spec.
So now I believe here. Stop talking. Perfect.
Okay.
Hey, give me 5 minutes so that I can get my thoughts. Come back.
Perfect. Off-grid inverter, this guy.
Really?
Yeah, only
Okay.
20 minutes and they were the same.
So, down to spec.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Okay, I will make sure that I'll go look and see if I just accidentally uploaded the same one twice, because that's probably the last half.
Battery bank.
And so there's probably a
Right
part
here,
one.
the smaller
I
one,
hope.
that won't work.
If not, then I guess I'll be going over it again in class.
Okay, and then go down to some of the surge here. So, you're gonna add up your max watts from your energy audit plus the surge.
So if I go, I wonder if I have one of those over here.
Okay, can you give me 1 second so that I can look up something really quick?
See if I can find one here. Operation. I may not have one in here. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have.
Okay, so the surge energy audit spreadsheet. All right, so it's gonna be this whole column right here. But then if you have a surge for an appliance, you want to, instead of using the cell in this column, you want to jump over and use the surge in the other column, because remember the surge is higher.
Yeah, you gotta combine them.
That will give you your max watt, which will then watts, just watts on, plus a surge. But if, let me go back here. If, like, let's say I have something like, let me do this better here. So let's say I have, lighting. Come on. Oh. Ish. So let's say I have 100 watts here, but my startup surge is like, 500 watts. And then I have 50, and then I have 150. I'm going to go ahead and add these two, and then I would add this one, and I'd skip the 100. Because instead of whatever appliance is running at 100, it's starting at 500. So we're looking at, if we turn everything on at the same time, what's going to be the watts. And then we'll go back to our inverter. And we'll take what we added together, and we need to make sure it falls below your 5-second surge. So right here it's 8,500 watts. Now notice that the longer the surge is, the smaller the number. So for 30-second surge, it goes down. It can only handle it for 6,000 watts, etc. The maximum continuous input, you will use that for sizing your wire from the battery bank to the inverter. Okay, that's your current that you would use. And then, I'm getting ahead of myself. What you're doing at this point is you're choosing what inverter it is. So you need to look at this one, this VDC, make sure 48 is included in that range, and then that it can use that, that it can be okay for the surge. Alright, so those things are checked off, then you're good, and it needs to be an off-grid inverter, so it should have some charging specifications in there as well. Okay,
So,
So inverter, you're gonna look at, look at the VDC input and surge watts. Okay, so after that, we'll go back to our thing here and we'll check off inverter.
Look in the mirror.
Right, now combiner box. Combiner box.
oh yeah.
Let's go on Midnight Solar. So it will, this guy's gonna depend on.
All right, did you have a question? Sonia,
Combiner box. So number of breaker spaces should be equal to, greater than, let me switch that around. Greater than or equal to number of
Jumper cables.
strings parallel.
Alligator clips.
They're not the same thing.
So you need one breaker per string.
Which means your breaker, your combiner box should have space for that amount of breakers. Okay? So you can just go on that, online and look for that. You can go to Midnight Solar for that. Okay, and then,
Yeah, I can imagine that.
so we need to choose some breakers, some of the size breakers. I just did that. So breaker size would be your VOC, temp corrected, low temp times 1.25. Oh, I'm sorry. VOC? No. I'm talking current. ISC times 1.25. Breaker, DC breaker size. No, because current is I haven't done that yet. Yeah, but it barely changes, so see that might be the difference. And your ISC so really, current is not added series, so it's really going to be the ISC for one panel. Okay, because we're using one breaker per string. So per string, which really means per panel.
Yeah, exactly.
Not per panel, for one panel. That's going to be confusing. ISC for one panel. Okay. Size of breakers. Breaker box. Or combiner box, same thing. Alright, now let's go back to this one. So that's done. Generator. So generator, you're gonna have to go to like Home Depot or something and find a generator. But what you're looking for the generator, 15. Let's go back here. So it's going to be down in your
Had to go back to learning, but
where it says charger
you are.
specifications.
Oh,
Right
Do
here.
you wet the Q-tip before you use them?
Nope.
This was a
Right.
coffee.
Yeah, this morning.
Make this bigger.
no.
Okay.
That might help.
And the whispering here.
How about let's keep going?
Oh,
My
right
goodness.
there. That one. Cool. All right. Charger specifications.
Okay.
So this one.
here.
Yeah.
So
Were we on the what size generator was?
Yeah, exactly.
For a
We are
generator,
on what size generator
it
is
needs to
appropriate.
provide, to the house
Okay.
and then also to the
So like I said
battery
before,
bank. So we're gonna take 17.5
Gotta have-
times 240.
we have to have our battery bank charged. And our generator
17.5
charges
times
it. It
240
also charges our,
plus
not charges, it also powers our house. Okay.
Surge
So we know that we got
that we calculated.
4,000 watts
before.
going over here. All right, and then we need to go back to
These are
our
both in watts.
inverter, because remember, this
And
goes
that's
through
gonna
the
equal
inverter from AC to
generator.
DC. Okay, so if we go back to our inverter
Before.
spec sheet,
How about I add an E on
which
the
I
end?
have right here,
Generator watts.
we are going to multiply
So generator watt.
our current AC, so 17.5 by
Some come with it, some don't. Take a look at the specs, it should tell
240.
you, and if not, then you have to look for a
Can someone
separate
do that
unit.
for me?
Okay,
By
so then
240,
the other thing, just to
or 240
look at
volts, so
maybe
amps
the-
times volts.
dual fuel.
There you
Probably
go.
a good idea for it to be
4,200.
dual fuel, meaning
So we got 4,200 watts going over there.
propane.
So that means that our
You're
generator
probably
has to be,
using propane.
as far as, whoa,
Yeah.
capacity, 4,200 plus 4,000,
Starting.
8,200 watts.
Okay, that's fine. Propane and
Okay.
then maybe gas
So
or
now-
diesel.
That is the answer to that question, 8,200 watts.
That's
And if you wanted to go
terrible. What did I
further
do?
with that, which you would have to in a
You know what I
project,
mean.
you have to actually find a
okay.
generator that,
So that's something to
will,
think about.
um,
Also, you may want to look at the decibel
that will
levels,
fit
how
that,
loud it is.
okay?
That might make a difference.
so you could go to
People-
Lowe's website, go to Home Depot's
but
website.
There you
find
go.
one
So
that
that's how you
has that
choose your
capacity.
generator.
In
So
addition,
we'll check
you
off
want
the
to make
generator.
sure, like say we have that
Okay, so
That,
now what we
um,
have left,
Excel
wiring.
sheet with the different loads
Wiring
on
on
it,
the
like what we
financial
filled
side.
out last week
Wiring
with your, I don't know, your
from place to place.
dishwasher, your, your fridge and all of that. You want to
Gonna
make
need
sure
to-
that
it's
your
just gonna follow
peak, meaning
the
your
example that I
surge
gave you in the
load,
past.
so your watts,
16.
yeah,
So
together,
from
that your generator
from
has
your
that surge capacity, and that would be on the
So your
spec
panels,
sheet. So
this
let's
wiring,
go, let's
that's
find a
solar
generator.
wiring.
Since we're
That's
here,
what
let's
comes
just do
with the
it.
panels, there are leads.
So,
Now, the length of the leads will be
yeah,
on the
generators
panel
are us. I'm gonna go to Home
specification.
Depot's
If you need
website.
more than that, then you are gonna have to order extra solar wire, okay? Also, your combiner box, which is this guy, should be sitting on the roof if it's on the roof, or by the panels
Yeah,
out in the
perfect.
field if it's out in the field.
Here.
Okay, so you want the long run to be
Dual fuel would be
a
kind of
single
nice.
run from here down to probably your garage.
We'll
So
do
this is
that
on the
one.
roof, this is in your garage, or this is on out in the field, and this is in your shed, or something like that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then,
So
so this run right here, this wire size, is going to be the current
here's one
coming
1,200
out of the
watt.
combiner box.
That'd be plenty.
So that current
8,000 watt.
we need to
That'd be
take
alright.
a
Maybe.
look at really quick.
Here we go. Westinghouse.
That will be a target loss.
9,500.
We don't want that target loss to be
Sure.
about 3%. So panels, panels
How efficient?
to, or I'm sorry,
Um,
charge controller, because it's already
You mean
on
to tie your
charge
generator
controller.
versus the grid? Just tie into the grid?
To
Um,
your battery.
you would have to do some serious analysis,
3%
I think,
loss.
on that because you'd have to
The
figure
wiring.
out
This is wire.
where your power is coming from, first of all.
Okay, and
Now,
then
okay, here's a good
battery,
comparison.
battery to
If you live on the East Coast and they use
inverter.
like coal still, this is
you're
going
gonna
to
want
be
that to be 1%.
way less of a
That's
footprint.
a higher
if you live
current.
here and it's
So,
hydropower,
when you have loss,
maybe not.
what is the loss?
That would be my anecdotal assessment.
What does
Okay,
loss turn into
so
watts?
let's see here.
Feet, exactly. So you want to have like less
Let's
loss
see if we
because
can
you have a higher
find
current.
the details. Where
in that
are
particular
the
section. And then
where are the specs? Specs.
the charge controller, the battery to inverter. What else? Inverter to battery.
They do have
Combiner to controller.
So they're not going to be used 12 hours
Yes.
all at once, because remember it turns on
Correct.
3 different
Actually-
times. So you could just go fill it up.
This guy needs to be
But you see
3%.
that
1%.
replacement dual fuel.
Because combiner
And when I say dual
to
fuel,
charge controller should
it'll
be
run
3%.
on
That's the long
propane and gasoline. And if you think about it, that could be good, because what if you were using propane to cook with if you're out in the forest or
So
something?
your battery,
but then
your
at the
charge
same
controller, and
time,
your inverter should all be
maybe
pretty
you
close
want to be
together.
able to run it off of gasoline and in a
And then
pinch
your
or something.
panels,
So
your panels are in the field with the combiner box. The long run is
Yeah.
going to be from the combiner
And know the
box to
size
the charge
you look at,
controller.
it's like 3 years.
So that should be 3% loss.
that's so
And
funny.
then we also have inverter.
That's all it is a giant
Battery.
battery, the barbecue and the generator.
That's
Fill it
your
up once,
charger.
8
So
years
inverter,
recovered.
charger.
That's
That
awesome.
should be also
Generator was
1%.
back when they were something good.
Okay,
That good propane.
so that means
Okay,
that
so here's an
we would
important
just
thing to know.
follow.
All right, running wattage,
what we had, so we'd find the
7,500.
power.
Okay, that is slightly lower than what we want,
So the
so we may
volts
want to
and
look
the current.
elsewhere. But
So let me do.
the other
this
thing you want to
one.
look at is your
Combiner
starting
to
wattage. So starting wattage is talking
controller.
about surge.
Combiner to controller.
Okay, so that is
our
how much it can
total-
produce to cover starting load.
Total
So
system
remember, surge is when you turn on your motors and
System
they
power.
require higher power, and then it dips
System
and it evens out.
power
Okay,
in watts.
so
So that
In
is
watts.
protection. 2,000 is protection against surge.
Watts.
yes,
That is generator.
correct.
Multiplied by our
Now,
loss factor.
let's go back to where we were. So that's how you would kind of
0.03.
choose a generator. Another
Is gonna be equal
important thing to
to,
look at, which I don't
um,
know if they have it here in the specs, they
Loss
sometimes do,
watts.
gas mileage. Well, you'll need that.
Okay.
You know, you will
Our
need that.
loss
Right?
watts. We'll just put that here.
Yeah.
Remember, power equals
But you need to know
resistance times
you're going to use, because you
Current.
you
have to budget out how much you're gonna pay
every year.
multiplied by however many.
It's going to
be ISC
It's going to be gallons per hour.
by however many strings in parallel.
1.17.
Number
Yeah.
of strings in parallel. Because remember,
All
current
right,
adds
here's the other
in
thing.
parallel.
Operational
Number.
volume.
Strings
How loud is this
In.
thing, and how close do you want it to your house?
parallel.
Put it in the house.
Squared.
Put it in your neighbor's yard.
You're gonna solve for this.
73 decibels.
How loud is it?
I'm gonna look it
And
up
then you're
because I
going
have
to-
no idea. I don't have a good.
Divide R by
Just get an electric generator.
divide R by the length of your run.
Bird
so
calls.
if you have
44.
2 foot
I like these comparative examples.
runs, there's a
What is this?
positive and a
I
negative
don't know what that's
conductor.
about, so no thanks.
So that means it's actually equal to 4 feet. So
Volume of a
total
vacuum cleaner at 1 meter. Okay.
conductor length
So
in feet.
pain begins at 125, just so you guys know.
Because
Vacuum
you have
cleaner,
multiple
chamber
strings in
music in a
parallel,
small
and you
auditorium,
are-
telephone
let me
dial
go back to
tone.
the
Okay, so
picture.
not that loud.
So the current coming in here goes to
It's, yeah,
a
I
breaker,
mean, you're
and
only
you just use
running for
your
12
ISC
hours a
per
month,
panel,
so.
one panel, 'cause you
But
have
is it
one
gonna kick
breaker
on in the
per
middle of the
string.
night? Hmm.
Okay, and then they're all combined
Alright,
together, so
so
then your current goes up to
Let's go
a
back
multiple of
where we
all
were.
of the parallel.
Okay, this is something you guys can do.
So if you have
Without
a
me.
4
Number 4,
series,
what is a workable
two-string
configuration of
circuit,
the resulting
it's gonna be
array?
2 times your
And what are the
ISC.
max VOC, max
Because we have
ISC,
all the
and
current now
realistic
coming in
operating
here.
values?
So it's combining
You love that.
the current.
Okay, I'm gonna let you do that on your own.
Okay,
So
so
let's put for what
Total.
side of here?
conduit length,
80,
conductor length.
8200.
and then
Yeah, 8200.
you're also going
Now-
to multiply
You can do
by
number 4 on your own.
1,000 for milliohm
And then
per.
let's do
Okay,
the wire
then you're gonna
sizing.
go to
So
your
we already
American
kind of know
wire
that we
gauge
have 2 runs of 3.
table.
Okay, we kind of figured that out already.
You also need to check
So that
ampacity.
means that we need to find
meaning I go to
the maximum current. So ISC
go to a
for
new-
1 run. You guys do that for me? Maximum ISC meaning what? Highest temperature. Although it doesn't really change that much with temperature. But you're going to use those
wire gauge. So if you go to this table
those equations that we went through.
check where it says ampacity, so you know
How do we know
how
if the
much
generator is
current
set
is
up
going to be
to
going
do
through.
the
So
start
for us,
of-
let's say you have 9 amps
You'd have
for
to look
1
probably in the
run. So
specs,
times
and if not, then I
2
think you
is
can get an
18
automatic starter.
amps. So 18 amps would certainly be way below this ampacity right here. But when you start to get to the between the battery and the inverter, etc., the current does go up. So you do want to check to make sure that you're below your ampacity rating. So basically, it's how much current that particular type of conductor can handle.
Yeah. The max current,
You should go up. Yep, because as you go up, the conductor gets larger in diameter, and the larger the diameter, the more current it can handle. So you'd be sizing up, which makes it more conservative.
More expensive wire, it doesn't super expensive.
Very expensive, correct. So, okay. So you're gonna go through and do that. So the wires would be covered, and then you need to do it for each run. Here, and here, and here. You don't have to worry about this wire between the generator and your inverter. And you also don't have to worry about the wiring here either, and you don't have to worry about that electrical box. Okay? So from this side over, I just want you to choose the generator. Okay? So that's how you get the system designed. I'd say do that first, and then ask me questions about the financial part, because there's plenty to do. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about the shading on the
Yeah.
grid side?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm using the Pathfinder. I don't quite see how I can put it into the.
Okay, I can come over and look at it. Actually, I guess I could go through it. Maybe everybody else is having a hard time with it as well. Yeah.
What you had and stuff.
I can post these messy notes as well. I will post them. 9, correction for low temperature voltage, STC VOC. I'll post them after I answer questions. Okay, so if I go to, so this is Sam right here, loss shading. There we go. Shading, edit shading, month by hour. So this one right here, yeah?
filling it out by hand. That's right. So that is tedious. Let's see here.
It will allow you to have 17.
I had a. Oh, you have it right there?
Word to Excel sheet.
Yeah, we can have it on the screen.
You can import an Excel sheet.
So it might be easier to make on Excel.
Yeah. So tell me, do you need help reading this, or do you need help inputting
Translating
it
that
here?
information to this.
Okay.
After you're done
makes
with
sense.
that,
And I get how to fill this out, but I don't know. how to-
no, I'll do it. I'll do
Sure.
it. You guys have fun.
Let me pull up the overhead thing really quick. So let's do an example. Let's say that, so if you're reading it for like December, well, let's do a different one than December because you're going to be doing all of them. So everything, let's do March. March is right in the middle here. Okay, so everything up until 6:30 in the month of March is 100% shaded.
7.929.
So I'm gonna flip over to that.
10.929. That makes more sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
for our latitude, that's true. So everything prior to 6:30,
10.929 amps.
and that's for March. So
Okay.
100,
Now, the other thing we
100,
need to, so on your own,
100.
you can do the other parameters, okay? Because you guys know how to do those all. But let's look at the operating power
And then
output. Okay, so
says 6:30. So
WMPP
now we have to figure
at
out.
a
So I have
certain
it up until
temp, which
6.
is
So now I'm gonna go back to my.
25.49 C,
So let's say.
because that is going to be the
let's
lowest
say
temperature.
that this half
If
an
we
hour.
actually
Right
convert
here,
it.
the one. Let's say that's not
25.4.
shaded. Well, the issue is the first half an hour is shaded, so you can put
degrees. Okay.
So 50.
And then we have,
So 6:30 is half and
how
half.
many modules
so
do we have?
50%
6?
Shaded. Okay.
6
and then the rest of
modules
this is going to be not shaded
times
until, let's say,
Our,
it's half shaded at 2 o'clock. So
that
say-
is from,
so I follow this all the way over here.
our 0 degrees
say that there's
Fahrenheit,
this big
and you change
tree
it to
here.
Celsius.
Okay, and this from
Oh, that's
here
not,
all the
that's
way
not
over
right, is
here
it?
is shaded.
No, what is it? Can you
2
do
o'clock
that?
onward.
Negative
So-
17.7, okay. Let's do that.
Saying how much it-
Negative 17.7.
Yep.
Okay, we're not actually using the little numbers that we use.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why you know.
6.
All right. Cool. So
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, that actually, no, that's why we did that. That would be at on operating temperature. So that'd be like
Yep.
room
So-
temperature.
you would just do that. So what you should see is
Yeah, do
probably a
62
white
degrees.
opening here.
62 or
And then the
70,
rest of it
some
should
kind
be
of like
diamond type shape.
in between the max and the min temperature.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. 18.3. Okay.
So for the rest
Not
of the
negative,
class,
right?
this is your time to work on the project. I'm not sure some of you are doing that, but that's
Thank
all
you.
I have to say.
All right. 18.3 degrees Celsius. So then we have our WMPP from our module. So that's if you go to this spec, the NOCT power rating. Can somebody look that up for me? So the LG panels. Yeah, for NOCT.
71.
Okay, 271. 271 volt, watts, excuse me. All right, and then we need to have the temperature coefficient. What is the temperature coefficient for power? 0.00 something.
Power,
Mhm.
0.000.
37, okay? Yep, like that. And then we have our 18.3 minus 20 degrees, which is our reference. Okay, so does somebody want to do that math for me here? See what our watts are?
This one is,
That's just wires here. And then I'm assuming it's the same for the wires here.
that one is the one in this color.
1636 watts. Okay, so that sounds about right. That works. That actually does sound pretty good. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is, if we're looking for, if we go to question 5, where it says, so I'll let you finish the one before that on your own. Yeah, so right here, if the array is located 200 feet away from the charge controller and power loss for the resulting cable were to be no more than 3%, what size wire is needed and what would it cost? This is very important. Okay. So as far as conductors, what do we have to think about for conductors? There's something that happens if current goes through them. Resistance and there's loss through heat, right? So we have to figure out which size will basically be conducive for the current at different points in our system. So it's saying we don't want to lose any more than 3% of our power, okay? And our power is what we just found. Our operating power is like that, whatever I said, 16, whatever Dylan said, 1600 or so, okay? So it's asking, okay, if we don't want to lose more than this 3% of our power, what size wire do we need? If a wire gets bigger, is there more or less loss?
Less.
Yeah, less. Because there's less resistance. Now, and bigger, I mean, as in larger diameter. Now, as the wire diameter gets larger, what else gets larger? Cost. Right. So we don't want to oversize too much because if it's 200 feet away, we have a positive and a negative lead. So that's 2 runs, really, of 200 feet. And so if you have a very expensive wire, then that doesn't help your bottom line. So, what's that? They have grounding too, but they don't have the ground. They ground the components, not the ground run. It's going to be a different wire. So, okay, so, all right. So let's keep going here. So if we use this number that we just found, so we have to find the wire size, 1636 watts. We want to know how many watts we can lose. So we're going to go ahead and multiply this by 0.03. That's our target loss. We don't want to lose any more than 3%. So if we do that multiplication, let's see. 49.08. Yep. 49.08 0.08 watts. So we can sacrifice those watts, okay, up to that amount. Okay, now, let's try and figure out what our resistance is. So our allowable resistance, so R is equal to power over current squared, which for us, our power that we're going to be okay with losing is 49.08 watts over our current, what ISC current that we just found, 10.929, 10.929 amps, square that. Okay, so now we gotta figure out what that is. 49.08. 0.411. Like 6, which a lot of decimal places. So now that is this in ohms. Okay. Both wires. Now we're getting to a certain point. Now we need to be able to look at wire tables, and so we need to put it in the correct unit to compare it to some wire tables, and that needs to be in ohms, milliohms per foot. So we're kind of getting to that point. Right now we have ohms. So how many feet are we running? How long? 200, 400 though total. So 400 total, there and back. So 0.4116 ohms over 400 feet. Okay, so now we have an even smaller number, divided by 400. So now we're looking at 0.001028, real small there. Okay, 29, I guess I should say. Okay, and now this is in ohms per feet. But really, feet. It'd be better if we put this in milliohms per feet, so 1.029 milliohms per foot. Okay. So, now, we can use this number. We're going to go to, and honestly, I just go to Wikipedia. That's fine. This time, that's fine. We're going to go to American gauge, American wire gauge, Wikipedia, American wire gauge. So we need to go down to the wire table here, wire sizes. So notice resistance per length, milliohms per foot right here. So we have what did I say? 1.029? Okay, 1.029. So all the way down here, 0.029. So we want to have less ohms, less resistance per foot, if possible. So instead of going to the 1.2, we'd go up to the 0.99 right here. Yes.
How expensive is wire?
How expensive is wire? Well, you can, so this is small wire, but if you look up the bigger wire, which would be like 4/0, 4/0, that gets rather expensive. Let's see. So we can look it up right now. It's real big. So for a wire, what happened? think you're right. There we go. 4-aught wire is $4.25 a foot. It's a lot. So, I mean, that's a giant wire. It's not like you're going to put that in for 200 feet. Wow. That is what they use for distribution lines. So, for example, if you want to have your power tapped off of the lines residentially, they would use between 1 and 4-aught typically. And that's actually what I used to do before I did this. Okay. Anyway, so just to give you an idea versus, number 10 wire.
So, it's one roof, and if you want to assume, like, once they're building, then you look at how high once they're building is, and then
So 800 feet, that's a lot.
yeah, I grade more on thoroughness of the
500 feet,
things rather than
$90. So much less. Okay, so let's go back to what we're doing here. And the other thing that we have to check. So if I go back to Wikipedia here, American wire gauge, and let's say I've got 10 gauge here, 10 gauge wire. The other thing we need to check is we need to check the ampacity. Ampacity means the amps flowing through our wire. Is our wire able to handle that? And right here at 60 degrees C, 75 degrees C, 90 degrees C, the number 10 wire can handle 30 amps, a little hotter, 35 amps, a little hotter, 40 amps. Okay, so if we have, so let's see, you had, how much current do we have going through that guy? 10 point something. You know what though? I thought this looked kind of funny. Think about it. So we're almost out of time. We're gonna have to go back and change something here. Well, let me do it real quick. Give me 2 minutes. Okay. So if you think about it, we just found. Remember, I had you do the ISC. The ISC, the current going through this. Well, remember, we've got 2 runs. What does that mean? They're in parallel. Times 2. 2 times our amps. Alright, so that means we gotta go back here for a second. That means instead of 10.92, we're looking at about 22 amps. Okay? 22 amps. Let's redo this. 49.08. Okay, so now we're looking at, and you can tell me if I'm getting a different answer than you guys. 0.114. Then this one goes to the same. I have 1014, but I rounded this.
I'm trying to get it so it's a part 1 and part 2.
That makes more sense. 0, 2, 5, 0.25. It's been 2 minutes. Ding, ding, ding. I'm out of time. So I got about 0.254 milliohms per foot, roughly. Okay, go back to my wire gauge. Now look at how big of a wire I gotta get now. We're up at like number 3. Okay, and we should be fine with our ampacity because we are going to be putting about 22 amps through. which is way less than 85. Okay? So, but you do want to check that just to make sure. Because I realized that when you did the ISC, you were just doing it for one run. And remember, we have 6 panels, 2 runs of 3. So we needed to multiply that ISC by 2, which is roughly 22. Okay, guys, get out of here. I got you.
Yeah, 6 panels, 2 runs, 3 panels in theory.
Hey Noah, I've been asked multiple times today.
We just looked up the comments. And are we going to work on this on Monday?
We'll finish it, and I'm not sure what else we're gonna do. Do up until this point. So they had to do it on their own.
So like,
It's a commercial. That's like,
That's what I did. It's your power, so the only one who got it. So, I was like, oh, that's wait a second.
but she also has examples of
IS, not the ISC level,
Number of parallels.
I'm sorry. Oh, it's too.
Yeah.
So my radio ladies asked her how they I wonder because I have a Wednesday. Because I don't know if I need exactly this year. I think that's why so I have to write it down.
Okay.
Make sure, so you do make sure that the photos I see.
Yes,
Yeah, and then other than that,
Yes.
just choose what you
so
want.
what do you recommend?
Maybe it's not a minus, it has like
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so when I was just thinking,
Oh,
should I make something up?
So,
That's what you're fine.
so, because
Yeah,
we did that for
So
this
maybe
is
in
right
the
next
order
to
is pretty decent. And the LT is pretty good. So I know they're.
They're all like that. It's a Chinese.
Well, it changes.
Yeah, so Chinese
It
ones.
is.
Okay, so your Chinese ones is really building this.
Yeah, because it was weird because it's the first time I came back and it was
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff.
so I mean, I was this is 20 panels.
I get that I only see that 5 minutes
The inverter does.
Like, we changed the panel.
Only consumes what?
Oh, as your project? So it depends
And,
on.
well, maybe.
So did you talk Chad?
I chose Crown Point.
What did you get for your temperatures for Crown Point, Indiana?
What?
What did you get for?
Because I don't know.
I was just wondering.
Oh, yeah, I haven't. That was a little.
I was just wondering.
No, I'm not doing this much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got here.
So I get what you're saying. I just have to make sure that you follow all of the rules.
Okay. That's what determines the amount of loss. You can put once you decide what wire you're using.
That's interesting. The only time you can do that is to give permission to both people. So you need to talk, you need to ask that for why. Right, so I can't tell you yes or no without his permission, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it'd be easy for this.
You have the XCOM.
This one.
So I went through how to do the undergrad one on Monday. Gotta get started. I'll post those.
I will read them up and go through them and I'll
Come back to me.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Make sure it's whatever. Whatever STC is.
So,
Again, we did this one.
That's all you're doing. Oh, it is? Alright.
We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
let's look at
Sounds too far below.
Yeah,
probably like 75 volts.
So the power.
This inverter doesn't even do anything until like 145. Oh.
Like,
That's more
Yeah.
like the actual way bigger. And then, yeah, and you pull one and otherwise.
All the way.
You need to
Cell temperature minus the reference.
I made power.
But then.
No, I usually have like 40% AC inverter power consumption and 36% AC inverter. 76% is just lost to whoever AC is.
Just
putting out in your report this every single year. So the thing is that you don't have to I think they have IQ. Does this include the prices of solar panels? No. I don't know. I haven't. Good luck. No one's giving vendor grades. No, they're not. Look at them. Yeah. So from 2, I have a meeting.
Just want to.
Yeah.
Very few people give solar panel prices.
They don't like to do it. They don't want you to call a vendor because that's how it deals with installation companies.
Like the cable company. Oh, we got a great deal today. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it. See what chat. The only one you have to do is check it by yourself.
Good.
Is this one? I calculated it. Now I need to go through.
Okay, so, yeah, the VM, yes.
And make sure that it's on here.
I'm gonna turn the electronic copy that I have, and then when everybody else puts stuff done,
It's a program
get that
that we
away.
use to
And then, and I will copy it, so you guys have. But I need to go.
There's a couple skips on. There's a couple that like show me that.
Actually, show.
Alright, so go home and get some lab work, homework. Oh no, that goes there now.
Well, I'm trying to find it.
Oh, I'm doing that hole. It goes into his hole.
Oh. That was. So basically, like,
So I
It's the monitors.
So this.
check it out. I got one too.
Sorry, staring off into space. Okay. STC, so VOC is a 42. This is higher than that one. This is real low. Plus, and then you control down here. So even though it's plus right here, it's a negative temperature coefficient, so right here, and it's a percentage. So negative 0.002. Okay. And then, what was the lowest temperature? Negative 12 minus, and then your STC is 20.
Instead of an A, it's a B.
Oh, no,
This now.
yeah, so then you calculate it, and it should be, this
You just,
number
just
is
pick something,
calculated should be
the
more
pounds
than
that you had, just try to make sure that.
it's not. It's something wrong. Now,
Yes, it's already have an idea of what I want.
this is gonna be the highest voltage from one panel. So there's 3 in series, right? You have 3 in series, you multiply this by the number of panels, and that's your highest string voltage. Okay.
I agree.
So your highest string voltage needs to be less than your hyper VOC, which is 150 plus your 48 volt bank, 190 volts. So it should be less than 198. You would lose a panel in series or so
I just go out and play by myself.
yeah, so that's how that works. So
I just like
want
it.
to check this,
Gets you sweaty.
and then you're gonna want to
And
check, you're gonna do VMEP times VMEP at STC
I like soccer.
at, or sorry, at NOCP, excuse me. Times
Whenever I play.
number of panels. That needs to be less than.
I need to get used to
These
it.
smart buildings, you're operating or you're operating. So operating voltage, so I learned how to charging voltage into operating.
So the Wi-Fi right there?
And then, so this is like your soft, highest, this is your hard, highest, then you need to look at your lowest. So your lowest voltage is gonna be the 48 volt bank, 2.7 times 24. No, this is how this works. So a 48 volt bank has 48 volt bank. That means you have 24 cells, battery cells, at 20 volts apiece. Right? You may set up, this is kind of the nominal voltage. You can go through the different stages of charging, and equalization actually is a higher voltage. So that means the 24 cells times, that's 7 volts. So when I multiply that together, I think that was like
Yeah, this is, I used to.
So you need your
Somewhere you're sorry.
highest battery
So I kind of.
voltage.
I started.
So you want your VM and
And then I just wanted
selected at height down at height that's greater 64 points. And we'll go use converter. Yep. Yeah, to convert the NVDA.
All that's just verified.
Yeah.
Kelly, it's generally better to size wires based on the answer them rather than the bill.
once I get to
But I'm not sure.
Well, for when you're.
Oh, you mean the antacity?
Yes, yes, antacity.
That means.
Yeah.
So it's all wiring.
This guy is going underneath here. You need to look at it. There you go.
If the printer works.
Do you have any food in here?
Look at this whole bag.
Does it need to match exactly on here? Like every single.
Needs to just be as close as you can get it.
Because I want to choose some LGs, but it's just everything is the same for what I found on the website except for like one letter. And that was done.
Well, what you need to look at is you need to look at the spec sheet that you're using versus the actual data in SAM. That matches.
So it won't just be that.
So we need to look at your spec sheet and make sure that this stuff matches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that will make a difference. Yeah.
Do I need to check the spec sheet more on generate? Also, where would I find this?
Maybe just like adding the. Oh, Samsung.
Yes, but it does mention, I don't know if it matters that I'm using the other kind of fuel that the engine is stored. Does that matter?
How much? Oh, right.
Yeah, the 1500s.
Yes.
Wait, is there even?
Well, remember that this is a worst case scenario that everything are all at the same time. So probably most of the time you'll be fine with this.
Okay.
You want me to really?
What we use it to, the only thing that, the main thing that matters is the power.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, you got it all checked out. I was just trying to see if you could find that inspection. But this is it.
Okay.
Yeah, So, maybe just cut out this. Indicate this is a line. That's enough, because it seems to be specs that it applies, so.
Okay.
Is it the same formula as for the VOC?
Yep. Yeah, because there's only VOC temperature coefficient, so you can just use that for the VMPP as well.
Alright, I have links to every single thing so far.
Cool.
And you can just quickly look this over to make sure I have all this stuff, because I think I do now. I have a battery bank. I have some random information, but I have a link, so just find everything I ran. Solar panel, link. I have the number for the roof and the orientation for both roof and ground. Charge controller. The link inverter, the combo thing that the charge controller comes in. This, which is totally necessary at this point. Beacon firebox with 2 breakers. Mentioned that I have 2 breakers here again. I have the links filled in. There's the wiring of all sides. And then the generator. I have the links. I have this still up. What do we do with this from here?
Okay. Let's see. So one thing. Okay, so you know what, so for the ground, no. You know what the focus is?
Yeah, I got 45 for that.
Well, rows go like this, columns go like this.
Well, which one counts as is it the rows in series or is it columns in series?
Doesn't matter. You might want to put maybe your rows in series, a little closer together. So how many do you have in series?
Which is the 2 columns.
The ground one? Yeah. Oh, then it says, then you can download all of this. Zip it together.
Okay. Do I care about the dollars per one?
No.
Awesome.
Should you also make it back into the roof?
Grab this link just in case. How do I figure out to use that? Oh, do I just do iron ridge again for roof vent?